welcome. My name is Ayana Lahi, and I am delighted to be here with you in this episode of Light Mastery Academy. We are diving into untying the cords blocking your power. Your power. What is that? It is the energetic force, the vibrational frequency, the presence, the expression, the existence of who you are. So let's dive in to existence. What does that mean? When you are born and you are seen for who you are, your existence is validated. The existence of your nature, your essence is seen. As a baby, the baby is going to be delighted and feel joy, feel welcomed. When a baby is born and feels energetically, which opens up one's intuition, that a parent is not really thrilled about having you there. Maybe it has financial worries. Maybe it really didn't want a second child, a first child, no children. Maybe it wanted a girl. Maybe it wanted a boy. Maybe, well, there's so many other maybes, right? I've seen thousands of existence issues. Everything comes back down in the work that I've been creating, developing through finding what the source points are inside of every person. And your source point within you is, do I exist or don't I? And a lot of you might be saying, that's ridiculous, that is bizarre, that's crazy. Of course I exist, I'm right here. There are cords of attachment, cords of control, cords of manipulation, cords of neediness, cords of love, misplaced love, true love, that when they are unaware, unawakened, can actually block your true power. The full existence of who you are is not seen. When you are born to parents, or you grow up with a single parent, whatever your situation is, but your existence is seen, you are supported to grow and develop in the direction that you are here to grow in. You are given the messages that you don't have to create a false self. You don't have to try to be something different. You don't need to try to fulfill the parents' needs, but that you are supported to be in your power. You're listened to, you are received, you are heard, and you're an exception if you've been raised and you've been really seen, heard, and received, and that you have a parent who is whole, a parent who has come back to themselves. That's rare, and that's what the future possibility holds, is that we become whole and that we value our own existence. We recognize when we have faltered, when we have split off from who we really are, the yearnings in our hearts, and we become dedicated to releasing that inside of ourselves. So the process of releasing our true self from being tied up in these knots and tied up in taking on other people's energies, their problems, their dilemmas, making them our own, is one of the ways that we create a cord to an identity. When you create a cord to an identity of who you think you need to be, oh, I need to be the listener for my mother. She needs me. She's not capable. of really functioning. Oh, I need to fulfill my father's legacy of me. This is what I need. And then, wow, you may choose not to follow that legacy imprint. But then what happens? What happens? There's an inner battle, that guilt that comes up when we're tied, but we haven't untied the cords completely. What happens when you untie cords that are unhealthy attachments, that are binding you to a way of growing yourself when your existence is aligned to a different reality, to a different source? What happens? You begin to shut down, you begin to judge life, you hold an inner anger. To be bound by these inner cords where you are tied, sometimes knotted in, to thinking that you need to stay with to fulfill what you are feeling you need to do to exist. So what you believe that you need to exist, and finding out what that belief is of what you feel you need to be doing, acting upon, showing up, being to exist is a deep place to go. It's a great place to start because you get right to it, and to track into the original place of departure from yourself. That's where we start in Spirit Gateways. And in all the courses, we're working from the same core element of freeing your existence to be fully present. So it's not the beginning stage to untie your cords. We get there after you're stabilized in your own self and you have reconnected with the essence, the truth of your true self, so that the untying of the cords becomes easier. It becomes a necessity. It becomes natural. And you realize that you no longer need to be giving your energies to others, to situations from the past or the present or the future that will be taking energy from you, denying you of your own existence, blocking you from fully coming forth. And you realize that you can choose being connected and one in yourself over staying in connection to the cords of attachment. In the women's work, in the men's work that I offer, working one-on-one or in a group. In We Women of Light, the Women's Transformational Group, and New Masculine Emerging, a men's transformational group. We work to untie those cords. And in particular, just addressing men for a moment here, what happens is that most mothers live through their sons. And it happens very subtly, and it's an energetic cord that happens. And oftentimes, because of the structure of the family system, that women are seen as having more emotion, and that's an older, right, the older concept and structure, and the man in the family is not accessing and living in his emotional connection. And then there's judgment back and forth because the woman is there to be the emotional component of the relationship, and the man is meant to be making important decisions, right? And saying, yeah, that's an old paradigm. But take a look at how it's still relevant and present in our modern day society. It's still here. And many of you have grown way past that. And many of you are going, yeah, I think I'm kind of caught in that. And knowing that your emotional connection into yourself can happen completely, where your emotions are transformed into a spiritual power, meaning your true power. Our true power is actually connected with the source of life. It is infinite intelligence. It really is. And so when your power is blocked by those cords of expectation, neediness, and projections, you become less than who you are. Some of you might feel crippled by that. You might have been raised in a family where those cords are strong. So circling back around to a mother who is putting the cord of her needs into her son as an emotional surrogate, that's an example of a cord that is placed into the son to take the place of her unavailable husband. Okay? And her own inability to access her power that is underneath her own emotions that are blocked in feeling unworthy, less than, that she doesn't really matter, and that she's unworthy of love. Those patterns are passed through generation to generation through your ancestry. And you are given that burden. You're given that gift that is far from a gift, but it's given to you almost as if you're supposed to receive it, because you're now existing as a human being in a structure, family structure, that has been created for generations to pass on those unmet, unrecognized, and undealt with issues. So here you are as a man, you're burdened with that, and you find yourself unable to really tap into your true core existence. Maybe you've become really great at fulfilling your role in your life, and the money's pouring. You feel good about what you're doing in your life, but you still haven't fully stepped into your true existence. So there's always that feeling of separation. It's a gnawing feeling. You push it away, don't want to feel it. Those levels are what's dealt with in the Spirit Gateways 21st Century Liberation Roadmap. As a woman, what are some of the cords that could be given to you? Possibly you can't be more than your mother. Perhaps you raise that little thread of jealousy in your mother, where possibly she emotes without words that being a mother has taken her away from really being able to fulfill her life desires and goals, her career. And you're not ever given that full applause, that full reception of being the woman that you are. That's a cord that blocks your power. And then you have to show up to reconnect with your true power. You have to make the choice if you're going to stay tied to what you're being given to carry on dulling yourself, to not be a threat to your mother. That's an example of a cord that can block your full fruition and expression and success as a woman. So both men and women on a societal level are passed down these cultural insecurities, inadequacies, and needs from parents who aren't whole. And with full compassion, I share with you, we're all on the journey of becoming greater and more whole, greater in our desire and our heartfelt, full out commitment to showing up for ourselves, to be true to ourselves, to be real. And it's not about hurting somebody else. It's about coming from returning home into that union of love and power within yourself. The power has to be unlocked. And through the Spirit Gateways 21st Century Liberation Roadmap, that's the essence of all the courses in the Spirit Gateways library, and the essence of all of the work in the group mentoring programs and in the one-on-one mentoring programs. You are given these very incredible tools that have been developed for over 45 years of being in practice and exploring the depths of the way that the body, mind, soul, and heart, the way that your emotions, your intellect, the psychology of your being with the energy of your body and the universal energy and the source energy itself work together. Here we are, untying your own fear of untying the knots. We are opening the doorway for you to say, yes, I want to be free. I want to know who I am. To be free is to unlock your true self. And the true self gets bound up in false fears, in false beliefs, and in the false relationship to emotion, and the false identities of identifying who we are with what we do and training our mind to overcome everything. The mind will respond to whatever training we give it. It doesn't necessarily mean that your soul, your real existence, ever gets to blossom. And that is where Spirit Gateways really began 50 years ago. And it is with this commitment to unveiling, knowing how to guide you to unveil your whole true self into the oneness that exists inside of you, so that you can fulfill your life path and be successful on a new framework, in a new structure of what is success. When you exist in yourself and you're not plugged up by old angers and old ways of projecting what's imbalanced, in separation, in fragmentation in yourself, onto others, into your work, into your relationships, into your family, what happens is that you're freeing not only yourself, but you're freeing the people around you. And then as you grow your business from that place of knowing who you truly are and being true to the way that you show up, the way that you really are, without fear, without shame, without humiliation, without having to pass on the ways of separation and negative control. What happens is that your outreach into the world, what you're creating through your business, through your visionary creative mind, through the way that you show up at your job, your union with you has the power, because you've touched your power and you've integrated it with your love, to make a huge difference in the world. And the world needs you. And so I invite you to come to the website, subscribe to the Evolutionary Empowerment Global Village, take a risk, take a chance, and receive what this is really all about, and grow the healthiest chords to your awakened self. Learn how to connect and develop a lasting, evergreen, sustainable relationship to the source within you, so that you can move through the fear in these times. You can move through the false messages of these times, so that you can be grokked in and live in the unbounded freedom and true power within you that is going to express itself beautifully and perfectly in your life, and be naturally aligning you to what you're here to do and be. So flourish, opened the door here with me. Step on in, and I greet you here as you walk through this door. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe here, and that would mean a lot to me. And come to the website, ayanalehi.com, and check out the group mentoring, the one-on-one mentoring, and take a leap in your life that will only bring you that inner joy, that freedom, and that inner love that can sustain you, that inner wisdom that will be there for you through the greatest challenges, the minor challenges, and the unexpressed opportunities that we often don't know are happening until we make it through them. This work gives you the opportunity, the tools, the real thing to shift your life from being tied up, bound up in an old paradigm, in an old structure of separation, and move from that level of inner separation and find that reunion in yourself. And from here, we grow as a community, and my support for you as an individual to grow your vision, your existence, and your dream into action, into success at a whole new level. Thank you for being here. I welcome you into the community. Thank you for showing up for you and for everyone else that you touch. Holding you in deep love until next time. Thanks for being here.